pretty sweet sounding drums. Let's go to our overheads. Because this is a whole bundle, we are also gonna bus these together. Let's go to bus 5. And that's gonna go back to our drum bus. Let's see what's going on for overheads. So good, not so good. It's fine. So the songs with the bad kick and snare have amazing sounding overheads. The songs with the good kick and snare have junk. All right, let's work on these first. Let's see if we can just fix this with EQ. You can tell these are recorded with a cheaper mic. Actually, it doesn't even sound that bad, so to kind of level this out, I'm going to try compress this just a little bit. Let's try gray. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'm just gonna compress them on the bus. Alright, so I already know I'm gonna need to do this, so I'm gonna open up a plugin called Oak Sound Soothe 2. We're gonna try to get some of these annoying frequencies out of here. Figure out what it is first. So around the 6 to 8K, then we have some ringing in the 2 area. So let's try this 6 to 8K. We're gonna widen that Q a little bit. Don't want you on, don't want you on, don't want you on, you. What did I say? 2. Where we were before. That's full. I think somewhere in there is good. Oh yeah. At least we're somewhere in a good ballpark now. Okay, now let's look at the rooms. Hopefully they're okay. Rooms are going to be bus 4. Copy that. Paste there. Let's go to the good old room crusher. 1176. Make sure to route it back to the drum bus. Let's see how we messed this up. What's up with this one? This one's real bad. Oh, I know what's happening. My kicks are being triggered. There we go. That's much better. We're going to deal with that later, but can't forget that. Cool. Everything's consistent-ish. We're good. We're moving on. Let's go back to rooms. This is where I'm hoping we can put that on the wrong track. Putting Waves L2 on it, it sounds kind of weird, but putting L2 on just to cut down those peaks a little bit so it doesn't trigger the 1176 as hard. See how the snare is just now more even, like, instead of it actually like ducking the compressor. For room sound, that's more of what we want. So now I'm just gonna activate that compressor that's on the snare bus, because I just want to consolidate the attack into one unit. Is that? Sometimes so funny how bad snare can sound when it's just the direct track. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna just go through and check all the phases of everything, because I haven't done that yet. So we're gonna compare the overheads with the snare. Ooh. Much better. All right, so that one is an inverted overheads. Yep, I'll say the same thing. Now let's check our rooms versus our overheads. Almost no difference, so I think we're gonna leave them inverted. So, yeah, sometimes if they're really far away, you just can't tell. Sometimes what sounds better or worse. But I mean, hey, if it doesn't sound worse, then it's right. So I'm actually going back, I'm taking the compressor off the overheads. Just too much. Wish we could get these rooms sounding better. Dull like that. I didn't realize I was cranking that hard. The snare is just so damn dark. I'm gonna actually make a new track for it and just give it its own whole EQ. This is just little bit better. Okay, so now since our kicks are also in a weird sort of thing, let's do something to the kicks. This is basically just a sidechain filter I'm enabling to this is drum leveler, by the way, so I'm just getting the lower frequencies. Dude, this sounds bad. We're at a point where the drums sound okay. They're at least consistent. We don't have any like handicaps now, but now we need to actually make them sound good. We're gonna get rid of this the snare top. We're actually not gonna end up using, but we're just gonna go ahead and start getting phase aligned MIDI to augment these drums. I think I want the MIDI to trigger mainly room sounds to give this a little bit more ambience, because I'm just not feeling how the room that it was recorded in. And I really don't like reverb, so I think that's gonna be the way to go. So what we're gonna do is trigger all the way to 0. Make sure it's grabbing everything. I'd rather have it get too much than not enough. We're gonna do the same thing for here. It's actually already on it. Drop it down just a little bit, the detail, just to really make sure it gets everything. I'd much rather delete MIDI notes after we create them than try to insert single ones. So now we're gonna go over to snare top. We're gonna go before the EQ, whole new trigger channel. Same thing for this track. Cool, okay. So now I'm gonna make my MIDI channel for the my MIDI drums that are gonna play along with these drums. And I think I'm really gonna use, not SSD sampler. I think I'm gonna use Invasion because I really like how the room sounds in Invasion, even though it's more of a metal kit. I think for what I wanna do, I think this might work. Lowest one, go and pitch it down just a bit. Like that, that sounds good. So now the thing with the trigger, all we're gonna do is go to all of these, clear buffer, clear buffer, and you guessed it, clear buffer. Yeah, so we're just gonna hit play and let it do its thing. Oh, the ending there, that's funny. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is just, where's my track that has all the cool stuff on it? That contact. I go drag on track, and I'm gonna drag on track, and we'll figure those out later, which ones they are. So we're just gonna hit play again. Let this scan in. Okay, so that just stopped. We are gonna do the same thing, and drag on track. Make sure you have some form of snapping enabled because it will save your butt later. Basically, it puts the MIDI in time after the next downbeat, or after the previous downbeat. So if you don't have snapping on and you drop your MIDI file into your session, your chances of getting it on the downbeat exactly are very, very slim. And it's kind of a bitch to get it actually lined up. So if you have snapping on, you just drop it in, it drops right on the downbeat, and then your MIDI is phase aligned no matter what. Yeah, I mean, there's typically two ways to think about going about this. You can either find similar drum samples to augment the drums and beef up the consistency, which is usually what I do or people would do. But in this case, I think we need to get a kit playing along with these drums that's everything these drums aren't. Just something a little bit beefier. This is a good opportunity to, you know, visually make sure everything's triggering. There's another one, 30. No, that was a kick. That's a kick. Yeah, so no plan. Just visually checked what's going on, you know, like we did with the toms. If you see it and you touch it, you physically, you know, strip the silence, you know a gate's not randomly gonna come on. And just like with this, you visually saw everything trigger, you made sure everything was good. So later down the road, when you're listening, you don't have to second guess, like, are really all those ghost notes there? You saw them. Come on. This is duck. You smell like farts. Okay, so we have our kick and snare for, yay, all of our tracks. Now we actually have to line them up. I'm just gonna make a temporary MIDI channel. But like I said earlier, these should just line up. Yep, see how that just lined up? Got our two kicks there. So we're gonna do the same thing with the snare. Cool, that is lining up. We're gonna keep the snare on track 2 for now. I'll show you why in a second. That looks good. Now that we have the kick and snare separated and lined up in time, what we are going to do is hit J to join these tracks. J, join these tracks. So we're gonna go to contact. I really just like how Invasion's room sounds came out. Nolly did a really good job. Just with this whole plugin pack is actually his whole series is great. Okay, so there is our kick track. So what we're gonna do, we are gonna move. I just double clicked on the kick. We're gonna move these to our kick, which is usually C0. We have a kick playing. So now we're gonna take our snare, do the same thing, drop it on, select both of them. So now we can see there's C0, that was our kick, obviously. we just moved it. So we're gonna take now our snare, pretty much do the same thing. Should be a couple notes above. So now we have contact, a little bit of trigger, all playing together, phase accurate, emphasizing the drums that we already have. Cool. So I just want to make sure they all kind of sound-ish okay. So now we have, all we need to really do is just go through and get rid of little mistriggers like that, because we obviously set the sensitivity a little bit high, so we didn't have to go back and manually put them in, because that is a pain, because then you have to like zoom in, like say I had it on the kick, like I have to go there, then like zoom in over here, like put a thing down, and then have a key command that says move that to the playhead, move the MIDI note to the playhead. Just not something I'm interested in doing right now. But going through and getting mistriggers, usually pretty easy. You can just usually do it visually, to be honest. You know what, I'm actually gonna go back on what I did, and I think I am going to separate the kick and snare. I don't know why I didn't do it before. Sometimes I like having it together, but I think with how split up everything is, I think it's just gonna be better. Just copy that. We'll call this kick, snare, mute, bottom one, mute. So now kick can go to our kicks bus, snare can go to our snare bus. Now we have some pretty sweet sounding drums. I know that's not really mixing, that's kind of like fucking with shit until it sounds good. It's my job to make it sound how it should. I get what they were going for. You know, I don't think that this is too overprocessed. I think it still sounds vibey. And without the samples, we're still sounds good. It just doesn't have that room ambience that I want in real drums, or that I want for album drums. So yeah, I mean, there's still a bunch of work to do. We still have to mix a little bit, but I think we're at a good point to actually start mixing. You might be saying, damn, that's a lot of work to not even be mixed yet, but I mean, if you noticed in the mixer, we don't really have much going on. We have Soothe on a track, a couple EQs here and there, but I think it's time to start bringing in the other elements and really see where the drums sit. Thanks for watching.